Penguin Audio presents The Signature of All Things by Elizabeth Gilbert. Read by Juliet Stevenson. What life is, we know not. What life does, we know well. Lord Percival. Prologue. Alma Whittaker, born with the century, slid into our world on the 5th of January, 1800. Swiftly, nearly immediately, opinions began to form around her. Alma's mother, upon viewing the infant for the first time, felt quite satisfied with the outcome. Beatrix Whittaker had suffered poor luck thus far generating an heir. Her first 3 attempts at conception had vanished in sad rivulets before they'd ever quickened. Her most recent attempt, a perfectly formed son, had come right to the brink of life, but had then changed his mind about it on the very morning he was meant to be born, and arrived already departed. After such losses, any child who survives is a satisfactory child. Holding her robust infant, Beatrix murmured a prayer in her native Dutch. She prayed that her daughter would grow up to be healthy and sensible and intelligent, and would never form associations with overly powdered girls, or laugh at vulgar stories, or sit at gaming tables with careless men, or read French novels, or behave in a manner suited only to a savage Indian, or in any way whatsoever become the worst sort of discredit to a good family. Namely, that she not grow up to be een onnozelaar, a simpleton. Thus concluded her blessing, or what constitutes a blessing from so austere a woman as Beatrix Whittaker. The midwife, a German-born local woman, was of the opinion that this had been a decent birth in a decent house, and thus Alma Whittaker was a decent baby. The bedroom had been warm, soup and beer had been freely offered, and the mother had been stalwart, just as one would expect from the Dutch. Moreover, the midwife knew that she would be paid, and paid handsomely. Any baby who brings money is an acceptable baby. Therefore the midwife offered a blessing to Alma as well, although without excessive passion. Whittaker de Groot, the head housekeeper of the estate, was less impressed. The baby was neither a boy, nor was it pretty. It had a face like a bowl of porridge, and was pale as a painted floor. Like all children, it would bring work. Like all work, it would probably fall on her shoulders. But she blessed the child anyway, because the blessing of a new baby is a responsibility, and Whittaker de Groot always met her responsibilities. Whittaker paid off the midwife and changed the bedsheets. She was helped in her efforts, although not ably, by a young maid, a talkative country girl and recent addition to the household, who was more interested in looking at the baby than in tidying up the bedroom. The maid's name does not bear recording here, because Whittaker de Groot would dismiss the girl as useless the next day, and send her off without references. Nonetheless, for that one night, the useless and doomed maid fussed over the new baby, and longed for a baby herself, and imparted a rather sweet and sincere blessing upon young Alma. Dick Yancey, a tall, intimidating Yorkshireman who worked for the gentleman of the house as the iron-handed enforcer of all his international trade concerns, and who happened to be residing at the estate that January, waiting for the Philadelphia ports to thaw so he could proceed on to the Dutch East Indies, had few words to say about the new infant. To be fair, he was not much given to excessive conversation under any circumstances. When told that Mrs. Whittaker had given birth to a healthy baby girl, Mr. Yancey merely frowned and pronounced, with characteristic economy of speech, "Hard trade, living." Was that a blessing? Difficult to say. Let us give him the benefit of the doubt and take it as one. Surely he did not intend it as a curse. As for Alma's father, Henry Whittaker, the gentleman of the estate, he was pleased with his child. Most pleased. He did not mind that the infant was not a boy, nor that it was not pretty. He did not bless Alma, but only because he was not the blessing type. "God's business is none of my business," he frequently said. Without reservation, though, Henry admired his child.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?